Okay, let's just dive right into this explainer with a scenario that, well, let's be honest, it's pretty painful, but it's incredibly common. Picture this. You're talking to a crush. They're chatting, you're picking up on the vibe, you think they're definitely dropping hints. So you finally make your move and you get a flat no. Ouch, right? We've all been there.
You probably walk away scratching your head, wondering why were they acting so interested? But here's the hard truth. They probably weren't. You see, their body language was actually broadcasting hidden signals that you completely missed. And the crazy thing is, this doesn't just happen in dating. It happens every single time you walk into a room, a networking event, or a crucial job interview.
So, here's our agenda for today's explainer. 1. The hidden language of bodies. 2. Decoding 6 unspoken cues. 3. Recoding for workplace authority. And 4. Your daily practice checklist. Let's get into it.
Starting with Section 1, the hidden language of bodies and why your posture precedes you. And that brings us directly into Section 2, decoding 6 unspoken cues so you can actually start reading the room. Listen, before you even open your mouth to speak, people are subconsciously judging you. And to read a room effectively, you absolutely have to watch out for unspoken cues to know if someone is truly engaged with you or if they're just, pretending. First up, foot direction. The human brain actually signals its intentions through the feet way before we speak. If someone's feet are pointing toward you, great, they want to stay in the conversation. But if you're chatting someone up and their feet are pointing toward the door, even if their torso is facing you, mentally, they're already walking out.
Second cue to watch for is eye focus, because where attention goes, interest definitely follows. If their eyes are constantly darting around, if they keep pulling out their phone, or they're staring at some random object over your shoulder, they're just not interested. You know that polite, repetitive nod people do when they've totally tuned out? Yeah, don't fall for it. They're just faking it.
Third, we have knee signals. Watch for this one when you're sitting down, maybe in a one-on-one meeting. If the person you're talking to suddenly places both hands on their knees and leans forward slightly, that is a clear-cut exit signal. Psychology tells us their brain has already made the decision to leave, and their body is literally physically preparing to stand up and wrap up the interaction.
Fourth on the list are throat signals. If someone clears their throat right before answering a question, it can signal mental pressure or discomfort. Maybe they're hesitating to tell the truth, or they're just feeling really nervous about the whole situation. It's basically a tiny physical leak of internal tension. So when you hear it, take a beat. It's a huge sign that you might need to tread carefully. Okay, this fifth one is wild. Look closely at their eyes. Pupil dilation happens instantly and uncontrollably when someone genuinely likes you or is highly focused on you. It is the absolute ultimate green light on a date. On the flip side, though, if their eyes narrow slightly, it subconsciously signals doubt, discomfort, or a negative feeling. And the best part? They can't even consciously control this reaction. Finally, our sixth cue is hand positioning. You might think hiding your hands in your pockets makes you look super cool and aloof. Actually, it broadcasts awkwardness or insecurity to the other person. Confident people don't hide their hands. Keeping your hands open, natural, and relaxed signals supreme comfort and confidence, simply because you don't feel the subconscious need to protect yourself.
All right, moving to Section 3, recoding for workplace authority and projecting power.
So now that we know how to read others, we really need to flip the mirror and look at the signals you are broadcasting, especially in a professional setting where your authority is literally everything. The absolute golden rule of body language is this: stillness equals power. The person who is the calmest and most physically stable in the room is always perceived as the most powerful. Think about it. If you can't control your movements, people will naturally assume you can't control your abilities either. And this brings us to self-soothing versus stillness. When you fidget, shaking your legs, spinning a pen, touching your hair, psychologists call this self-soothing. It's just your body trying to calm your internal anxiety. But here's the catch. While it comforts you, it exposes your nervousness to absolutely everyone else. Absolute stillness, on the other hand, projects unshakable workplace authority. You only move when it's actually necessary.
Next up is your posture. It's exactly like in the animal kingdom. When a scared animal shrinks down to protect itself, it's signaling fear and low energy. A slouched back and collapsed shoulders do the exact same thing for us. But when an animal, or a human, opens their chest wide, the primitive brain naturally interprets them as dominant and highly capable. Keeping a straight back and a broad chest stops you from unintentionally minimizing your own power.
Then we have your eye line. Constantly looking down at the floor as you walk down the office hallway, that screams insecurity and hesitation. But keeping your eye line straight ahead tells your own brain that the situation is safe, which actually makes you feel way more in control. Plus, looking straight ahead builds natural eye contact, making people immediately notice and respect your presence.
And how you stand really matters too. Shifting your weight constantly, leaning heavily on one leg, or propping yourself up against a wall just shows anxiety and discomfort. But standing firmly with equal weight on both feet, that mirrors the stability of strong animals in nature. It makes you look balanced, ready, and totally unshakable.
Let's not forget your walking rhythm, because your walk is very often your very first impression. Walking too fast shows panic and nervousness. Walking too slow shows a lack of energy. But a normal, controlled rhythm with a straight back, relaxed shoulders, and natural arm swings, that proves to everyone that you are calm and fully in charge of your environment.
Which brings us to Section 4, your daily practice checklist. Let's turn all this knowledge into an automatic habit. The goal here is to turn these high-status traits into a routine so automatic you never have to overthink them during a high-stakes state or a tense boardroom meeting ever again. So here is your daily checklist. Whenever you're out for a solo walk, I want you to consciously practice this. Purposefully open your chest. Pull your shoulders slightly back. Keep your eyes focused straight ahead. Whenever you stop, distribute your weight equally and use a normal, controlled walking speed, with your arms just swinging naturally.
And to really make this stick, I have a bit of a challenge for you. Set up your phone or camera in your living room and actually record yourself walking normally across the frame. Then watch the footage back. Seriously, it is the absolute best way to objectively review what you're doing right and spot those little self-soothing habits that you definitely need to fix. It might feel a little awkward at first, sure, but it is incredibly revealing.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself a tough question. If someone recorded you walking into your next big meeting or your next date, what would your body language say? Would it demand respect and project absolute authority, or would it subconsciously invite them to ignore you? The power to change that signal is entirely in your hands. Put these steps into practice.